let's say in my case, before I met you, I was kind of the trial and error person myself, to try and learn certain things by myself without the help of a master or a person to guide me through these teachings. I was teaching myself certain things such as the psi wheel, etc. And I just want to ask you basically your opinion to what happened to me, the way I dealt with it, and having no effect on my body. Do you think I might be capable to proceed with such a practice, or do you think I should
practice
the practice that he was teaching me, or should I practice more balance and stillness before I get to that level?
Those techniques that you're practicing in yoga, they're called kriyas. Kriyas are certain visualization techniques that you do with control of the breath. And before you practice kriyas, it does require a certain purification of your system first. So before getting into those techniques, if you want to prepare your system, I would recommend practicing the asanas, many of the asanas that we are practicing today, for example. Also many of the breath control techniques that we were doing here. And you continue practicing for a certain number of months. And then, and I mean months, not just an everyday practice, not just practicing once a week like a Sunday Christian. All these methods without consistency of practice doesn't really amount to much, because every detail of our life is interconnected, right? Our life has to be seen holistically, not in bits and pieces, not in fragments. So we have to look into very small details about how we're living our life. So everything that you do in life has a tremendous influence on how your mind and body is working. From what time you're waking up in the morning, to what time you're going to sleep, to the kind of food that you're eating, to the amount of food that you're eating. In yoga, it's recommended that whenever you're eating food, you keep 1/4 of the stomach filled with food. Sorry, 1/2 of the stomach filled with food, 1/4 filled with liquid, and the other 1/4 filled with air. And the reason for that is scientific, because when you fill your stomach up with too much food, first of all, it's very draining on your nervous system. You ever notice when you're completely full, there's a certain dullness of the mind that comes with it? Mm-hmm. You feel just like, I just want to settle here for a while. You know that feeling?
Yes.
That creates a certain dullness of the mind. So these small details, also what time of the day you're practicing, that also has an influence. There are different influences of nature that are working at different times of the day. So there are very specific times during the day when it's more suitable to practice things like meditation and yoga. Because in 24 hours, your mind and body goes through a certain cycle. I don't know if you know this, but at different times of the day, there are different hormones in your body which release different chemicals. So that's why generally people feel tired in the night, because there's a certain hormone that's released into the body that makes you feel tired. So there's a very fixed cycle, biological cycle that's happening in your body. So there's much more to it. There are other cycles, the cycles of the planets, the cycles of the moon. All of this actually has an influence on you. So what time of the day, there are very specific energies that are working at different times of the day. What time of the day also has an influence on how your system is working. So all of these little details have to be taken into consideration if you want to create an atmosphere where it becomes more friendly and natural to start turning inwards. So like this, it needs a certain dedicated and committed attitude. You have to look into every single detail of your life. So it's about your general lifestyle. You don't just practice yoga, casually. Life, to me, life is yoga. Life is yoga. Just walking down the street, that can be turned into a kind of yoga. If you're walking down the street consciously, with awareness, it is a very different experience than when you're walking down the street unconsciously, like a robot, mechanical. Many times we look into how we are living in life. We're living almost like zombies in a hypnotic kind of trance. We're not really there. we're not really conscious. Most of the time we're completely gone in our imagination. So to me, everything in life can be transformed into a process of yoga, because the word yoga itself, it just simply means union. Do you know that? The word yoga, it just simply means union. It doesn't refer to any of these physical techniques that we're talking about. It doesn't refer to any of these methods of meditation. When we say union, we're talking about a certain experience. When you come to a state of consciousness where you feel as though you're in union with the whole existence, that's a state of yoga. So any method that leads towards this state of being is referred to as a method of yoga. So let's say, suppose you're more of an emotional kind of character. There's something called bhakti yoga, which might be more suitable for you. Bhakti yoga means the way of union through devotion. You can channel all of your devotion in such a way that it leads to the realization of your true self. That's one kind of yoga. Or let's say somebody is more of an intellectual kind of person. Again, you can use your intellect in such a way that it helps you in the expansion of consciousness towards realizing your true self. That's known as Jnana Yoga, the way of union through intelligence. Or if we're doing what we are doing through sitting meditation, that's known as Raja Yoga, the way of union through meditation. Or let's say you're somebody who likes to go out in the world and do things physically. You would like to get involved in the society, charity work, this, that. This is known as Karma Yoga, the way of union through action. So for example, somebody like Gandhi, he's considered a Karma Yogi. So to me, if you want, you can transform your whole life into a process of yoga, because it doesn't have anything to do with what you're doing outside of yourself. And everything to do with how you're experiencing life.
Well said.